Hi everyone and welcome to That Saxy Nerd. First off, let me say there will be spoilers for Season 7 of Game of Thrones, so you have been warned. In this past season of Game of Thrones, we saw lots of meetings and reunions, and of course some of the most long-awaited ones were the reunion of the Stark kids. Though I'm still waiting for Jon to see Arya and Bran. All of them were sweet, but a bit awkward. Though I would argue that this is a pretty real reaction to seeing someone after going a long time without seeing them. And these kids have been through so much, they are hardly the same people that they were in the first season. Each Stark child has done and lived through some amazing life-altering stuff. Yet none of them seems to understand how the others have changed. Well, except Bran, but he's got all that green sight magic stuff going down. So it's inevitable that there will be some conflicts among the kids, and Arya and Sansa are chief among them. Now, I wanted to make a video about this due to the outpour of complaints I saw after the infamous scene where Arya and Sansa have their little showdown once Sansa finds Arya's faces. Granted, the conflict started before when Arya, not trusting Littlefinger, starts to snoop. And really, that's the right thing to do. Littlefinger is not one to be trusted. But I know some people didn't like this. In fact, they have accused this as creating conflict where none needs to be. But really, is this conflict really out of nowhere? First off, this is Game of Thrones. Even though the Starks are together again, that doesn't mean everything will be sunshine and happiness. You know something's going to cause problems. Arya is clearly a problem for Winterfell. The best thing I've read online is that Arya is not in danger, she is the danger. I think the problem for many is that we see Arya still as that little girl from the start of the show. The writers know this and have Arya reminisce about the past and their father. Yet that is not Arya anymore. Well, at least it's just a small part of her now. We know Arya has been through a lot and seen tons of death. In fact, she has pretended to be many different people, even before her time training to be a faceless man. Now, if you want a great rundown of how her character development has progressed and how much she's changed, I suggest watching Alt-Shift-X video on her. He does a great job just breaking down the books and her change from child to assassin. So I don't want to get through all that. Just go watch his video. He does a great job. But Arya has spent so long pretending not to be Arya and so much training trying to become no one, the innocent Arya of Season 1 is frankly dead. Even Arya admits this in the books that the Arya she once was is long gone. And yet she never completely became no one. When passing the final test, she says, "A girl is Arya Stark." She never gave up who she is, but yet that part of her is corrupted. It is tied to her list and her need to revenge the Red Wedding. She is Arya Stark, yes, but that identity is attached to vengeance and death to those who are enemies of the Stark family. The show never brought in Lady Stoneheart, and for those who are unfamiliar, Lady Stoneheart is Catelyn Stark resurrected by the Red God, and in the books is leading the Brotherhood without banners on a path of vengeance against the Freys. It is Catelyn, but it's not. It's a twisted version that needs revenge. The story didn't bring her in, well, because the show is simple. It cuts out the extra stuff and instead gave the revenge story to Arya. But I think it gave more than just the revenge, but also that feeling that the character is being twisted and different from their original self. Arya sees the world very black and white, which, considering she's a child and all the trauma she's been through, this immature view is understandable. You're either a friend or an enemy, and to Arya, enemies are to be killed. Though we see this worldview get broken down a bit when she met with the Lannister soldiers and saw that they were just normal people. But going back to Winterfell, she is distrustful of Sansa because, well, Littlefinger is there, and even though they are sisters, Arya isn't going to let that stop her if she feels she must protect the family. And that is what she's ultimately doing. Sansa has developed into a formidable lady. She understands how to rule both the surface requirements and the backdoor dealings. Her time at King's Landing has taught her well. Not to mention, Littlefinger has been grooming her, and while he has his own motives, it is making Sansa stronger. Sansa is thirsty to rule as well. We see that she wants power. She's been kicked around by those with power so much that she finally doesn't want to sit back, but instead wield her own power as her own weapon. She is the Lady of Winterfell and a strong claimant to the Kingdom of the North. She knows this, yet still supports Jon as the king. Arya, though, understands what Sansa wants and is simply making sure Sansa understands what Arya will do if Sansa tried to grab power for herself in the most clear way possible. And that is a threat. Though Sansa may have her cake and eat it too in the end. She may very well end up being Queen in the North. Jon has no claim anymore in the show. If word of who his parents are gets out, Sansa becomes the rightful queen, not Jon. Jon is a male, but Sansa is the oldest heir to Ned Stark, thus Winterfell. She does point out that Bran is the rightful heir, being male and a true-born son of Ned, but he wants no part of it, making her the true heir. When the war is done and assuming everyone doesn't get turned into ice zombies, she will be Queen of Winter or Lady of Winterfell, considering what happens with the Iron Throne. Personally, I think Dany will melt it, but that's a discussion for another day. So Arya is simply warning her sister away from using Littlefinger to get the power that she wants. And Arya is not giving idle threats, they are very real. And I know some out there claim that the whole conflict might have been just a ruse to fool Littlefinger. I don't think so, because how would they have known if he would see the conflicts, and how would they know that he wouldn't know of their true meetings planning this? I think that's a little too complex for the show. I strongly think Arya and Sansa were political opponents until Littlefinger had Sansa play that little game to understand a person's motives. He ends it with saying that Arya would become Lady of Winterfell with Sansa gone, which Sansa knows that is not really what Arya wants. She knows Arya never fit into that lifestyle, and this was Littlefinger's mistake. Do I think the same things will happen in the books? Not really. Littlefinger will die. I mean, he has to. He's a Lord of Harrenhal. But I think he will have a better plan, because the last couple seasons, Littlefinger has really kind of sucked. And I think this is due to the show being beyond the book. My guess is the show writers just wanted to make the show simpler and cut his storyline, and eventually killed him for this reason. Anyways, that's just some of my thoughts on the whole Arya-Sansa drama. Some hated it, but to me, it made complete sense that they would be enemies, and Arya would try to threaten Sansa in such a way. And luckily for us, all ended up well between them. At least for now. Drop a comment about your thoughts on the conflict and how it was ended. And heck, do you think future conflicts between the two sisters will arise? And what was your thoughts about Season 7 in general? Anyways, as always, thanks for watching.